living testimony that the Spirit keeps me going. Oh, feeling so good, gotta raise my hands and rejoice and say a few words of praise every time I lift my voice. Oh, seems impossible if you believe. In the power, every minute, every hour, every minute, every hour. I believe, 'cause I know I get my help from the power inside me. I believe in the power, and I never, ever doubt. Every hour, I believe in myself, 'cause I know I get my help from the power inside me. I believe. I believe in the power, and I never, ever doubt. Every minute, every hour, I believe in myself, 'cause I know I get my help from the power inside me. I believe.
Good morning. Welcome to Unity Church of the Hills. It is beautiful to be with you in your homes today, wherever you may be experiencing our service. I want to begin with just a word of gratitude. Gratitude to our board, gratitude to our staff, gratitude to all of you who made it possible for Reverend Steve to show up here today and to be with you for a while. I want to express that gratitude to my wonderful wife, Mary. And Mary gave us a beautiful piece to work with today. I'm going to use that to lead into the prayer. And that piece is, we are all sheltered in place in God. Sheltered in place in God. I want you to take that into our time of prayer this morning, because gratitude lifts us. And if there's anything that dispels the fear, if there's anything that wards off, anything that shouldn't be a part of our lives, it is gratitude and lifting in consciousness. So let us pray. Loving God, we open our hearts today to each other. We realize that there is this appearance of distance from each other, and yet we know we are one in you and one in the heart of one another. We are grateful for this opportunity to connect in this way, but beyond that, grateful for all of the good that's happening around this world. We hear some of those stories if we're attuned to them. They allow us to be grateful for our frontline medical workers, grateful for our first responders out in the field, grateful for each other as we support each other moving through this time, grateful for this Palm Sunday when we're reminded of the strength that was the strength demonstrated so beautifully by our way shower, Jesus the Christ, strength represented in that palm branch. And so we launch into this Holy Week filled with excitement, with enthusiasm, with a knowing that we are lifting in consciousness, and as we do, we bless those close to us. We bless this community, we bless this state and this nation and this world. We give ourselves permission to rise in such a way. And for all of this and all that we see and don't see, we are so grateful. And so it is. Amen. On Sundays, we like to work with one of our principles. The one we're working with today is principle number 2. It's going to appear on your screen. Each week, we affirm our mission, vision, principles, or one of our value statements, and today, it's that second principle. I want to ask you to repeat it with me. We are spiritual beings created in God's image. The Spirit of God lives within each person. Therefore, all people are inherently good.
The stream is working on Facebook, and that means it's probably also working on YouTube. And just check back with our website. We do apologize if there are any technical difficulties. Thanks for hanging in with us, guys. So first, I just want to let you know that we are constantly thinking of new ways that we can stay connected and offer you spiritual support during this time. There are 4 new offerings that I want to bring to your attention right now. The first is that the following prayer chaplains are holding sacred space for us today. That is Laura, Nana, and Julie. They are on duty just like they would be here in the sanctuary. And we know that any prayer chaplain who's watching today is also enfolding all of us in their love and their prayer consciousness, and we're grateful for all of you. So although it is not possible to meet a prayer chaplain for a prayer after service, you can still receive a personal voice-to-voice prayer in real time. So all you have to do is dial 512-814-5365, leave your phone number, your name, and what you would like to pray for, and shortly after the service, one of our serving prayer chaplains will give you a call and pray with you. Again, that number is 512-814-5356. And this is a service we're offering specifically for Sunday services. Outside of that, we do invite you guys to give Silent Unity a call. They are there 24/7. So the second offering is our pastoral care team, and they have set up virtual office hours for you guys. They're available to lovingly listen and encourage you with open hearts. So you can schedule a free 30-minute session with one of our pastoral care team members by going to unityhills.org/pastoral-care. Third, our InReach ministry has put together a team of volunteers that will be making check-in calls just to connect with you heart to heart. If you would like to sign up to receive or make those calls, visit unityhills.org, look for the rotator graphic that says call directory on it, and complete the form. Finally, UCOH congregant Shannon Pressure is offering a free connection on Tuesday nights to support you in staying grounded, calm, and nurtured. Learn more at unityhills.org. So I don't know about all of you, but I am definitely missing the conversations that happen between services and after services. Those hallway conversations and fellowship are such a part of what church is. So longtime UCOH congregants Neil and Jennifer Feiereisel approached me about creating virtual fellowship. In order to make that happen, all we need are some willing hosts who would be willing to host a Zoom meeting on Sunday mornings at 10:30 a.m. We'll list all those meeting rooms, and you can hop on or hop off just like you would out in the hallway. We're having an informational training session on Tuesday night, this coming Tuesday night at 7:30 p.m., and you can sign up for that, find more information by visiting our website. So if you happen to be tuning in for the very first time, we just want to welcome you. We're so grateful that you're joining us in this live love streaming format. We honor all pathways to God, and we love and accept you exactly where you are. So thank you for being with us. Today's speaker is James R. Nowlin, and I want to tell you just a little bit about him real quick. So he was born in the foothills of Virginia. As a child, he dreamed of speaking on stages around the world. As an adult, he survived a near-death experience, a near-death drowning on August 25th, 2012, and subsequently fully recovered from a traumatic brain injury. He'll talk about that just a bit in a moment. He credits his near-death accident as an awakening for him, calling that day his spiritual birthday. Professionally, James is CEO of Excel Global Partners, a corporate consulting firm founded in 2007. EGP has completed engagements in more than 15 countries and 20 states across the U.S. Before his accident, James and his husband, John, worked to grow EGP at a rapid pace with a hyper-focus on financial success. He shares, "I was not fully awake to what living a life of purpose and joy entailed." After his near-death experience, he re-examined his careers, relationships, finances, and goals. His priority became about creating a new life of great purpose, gratitude, service, and joy. He shares his secrets in doing so in his best-selling book, The Purposeful Millionaire: 52 Rules for Creating a Life of Wealth and Happiness Now. Based in Austin and part of our UCOH family, James serves our world as a keynote speaker and coach to top executives, college presidents, and corporate boards. He believes that his goal is to help the world become a better place by helping others to become the most authentic, purposeful version of themselves. We're so grateful to have James with us today. He's written some really beautiful affirmations for us. They're going to show up on your screen, and I would invite you to speak them out loud with gusto. I affirm that during times of change, a window opens for deeper connectivity with God and with my neighbor virtually. As I release all fear, I welcome comfort into my mind, body, and spirit. I affirm that a vibration of optimism and joy is fully available to me and is my choice. God is my unfailing source, and divine courage guides my way. I am unlimited peace and love in all circumstances. And so it is, and so I allow it to be. Amen.
Rolling river God, little stones are smooth, only once the water passes through. So I am a stone, rough and grainy still. I'm just trying to reconcile this river's chill. But when I close my eyes and I feel you rushing by, I know that time brings change, and change takes time. So when the sunset comes, my prayer will be this one, that you might pick me up and notice that I am just a little smoother in your hand, sometimes raging wild, sometimes swollen high. Never have I known this river dry. The deepest part of you, delight is where I want to stay. I long to feel my roughest edges washed away. But when I close my eyes and I feel you rushing by, I know that time brings change, and change takes time. But when the sunset comes, my prayer will be this one, oh Lord, that you might pick me up. Lord, just notice that I am just a little smoother in your hand.
Good morning and happy Palm Sunday, Unity Church of the Hills. Thank you so much for welcoming me into your homes. I am delighted to be here, connected with you device to device, eye to eye, during this wonderful time of worship and power and love and connectivity with each other. We're going to do something a little bit different this morning, and we're going to start off with some energy work to raise our vibration and to connect on a whole different level. And as we do so, we're going to be sending energy out to our neighbors, to our friends, to our family, to our loved ones who we can't see, and we'll also be sending out gratitude and love to the first responders, the medical staff, the first line workers all across the world who are working to supply us with food and groceries and supplies that we need to get through this series. So if you're with me, we are ready. So bring your hands together just like this. I'm going to count down from 10 to 0 while you rub your hands together vigorously. And when we get to 0, you're going to send that energy out to the rest of the world, and we're going to be able to share that vibration and lift that vibration with our interconnectivity. Then in the end, we're going to bring it all into ourselves to practice some self-care and some love right now. So here we go, guys. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, rub them harder, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ooh-wee. Whew. Can you feel that? Can you feel the energy, the love, the vibration, the support? Now bring some of that in to yourself right now and just touch your heart. And know that by receiving this love treatment, that we are connected, you're loved, and you are supported. I don't know about you, but I needed that. And before I begin my talk today on the power of creating a new life for yourself with 4 guiding principles, I want to ask your permission to just be completely vulnerable and human during this time of change. I want to be perfectly human, perfectly imperfect, and know that while I might not get all my words right and know that I might have to look at my notes a little bit, that my heart is with you and my love is with you during this time of change. Whatever you are feeling right now, whether it's a feeling of sadness or loneliness or fear about financial or economic stability, know that we are in this together. We are in this together. COVID-19 does not discriminate. It doesn't really care what class you are, what race you are, what gender you are, which neighborhood you live in, what kind of music you listen to. It is the great equalizer that has brought us together. And during this time, we can utilize our time on Palm Sunday, moving into Holy Week, moving toward Easter, to pivot our energy, our vibration, our focus to help others during this time of change on our planet. So I promised you guys that I would practice vulnerability today and just be my full, honest self. And I want to share something with you, and that is, I had a special crisis happen in my life several years ago, for which I'm very, very grateful. At the time, I wasn't very grateful for it, and it kind of hit me hard, and I struggled with it for quite some time. But on August 25th, 2012, my body was recovered from a near-death accident on a lake in East Texas. I had drowned, and they found my body like a needle in a haystack. And during that time, I actually got to spiritually go through something that I'd never experienced before. I experienced the agony, the angst, the fear, the adrenaline levels that were just sky high of trying to save my life, and then things suddenly changed. It moved from fear to nirvana and euphoria while I was drowning, and it was like a warm blanket was wrapped around my body. And I still have trouble putting it into words, the beautiful euphoria that I experienced that day. But I'm so grateful that I got to witness, be part of that amazing spiritual transition, because it really woke me up. And I call 8/25/12 my second birthday. Though that happened at the age of 31, before my second birthday, I had been so focused on building my business and trying to be successful and being this tough kid who made it out on his own at the age of 17 from the rural foothills of Virginia, that I measured my success on paper in terms of my financial success, in terms of what people could see, in terms of what my bank account said, and in terms of how big I was actually growing my company. But the reality was I was rather empty on the inside, and I was living a pretty purposeless life. God blessed me with 2 years after the accident to recover from the traumatic brain injury that was caused from the accident. And I spent a lot of time examining myself, really looking at my relationships and my finances and my value system. And I realized that I was showing up in the world trying to be something, not trying to do something. So I said, look, God, this is between me and you. James is here, and I want to be a better, more powerful expression of myself. I want to live life joyfully. I know that life is not perfect, that you brought 8/25/12 into my life as an opportunity to become the highest and best version of myself. Tell me what to do. And with that, I learned how to go deeper into my meditations. I learned how to go more powerfully into my giving. I learned how to vibrate with a higher level of consciousness and love. And I brought those principles into my workplace with me, with my colleagues and with my clients, and things began to change. My consciousness began to elevate in a way that I just couldn't explain, but things were happening for me, not to me. I was flowing through life and I was operating with less resistance. So today, I'm going to share with you 4 guiding principles that we can utilize to create a new expression of life as we move into Easter Sunday. Now, the first guiding principle is regarding happiness. I was someone who really didn't know what happiness was. And I decided that life is a choice. How we vibrate and how we move through life is our choice, and it begins with our thoughts in our head. I learned that happiness is expansion, and that we can stretch and create our own personal transformations so long as we do the work. Now, our mind, our body, our spirit, they are intrinsically connected. When one is out of touch or one is doing poorly, the other one is doing poorly, and it's going to get out of sync. When one is doing well, generally the other one's doing well. We've got the opportunity every single morning when we wake up to do the work on ourselves to become a better expression of ourselves, so that when we go to bed at night, we can say, hey, you know what? I was a pretty good example of myself today. I'm proud. Thank you, God, for that experience of allowing me to shine my light on the world and to share my time, my talent, and my treasure. You know, it's kind of tough to put these principles and habits into place, especially when we're stuck at home. And for me, when coronavirus lockdowns began, I found myself eating more and being a little bit lazier and not sticking to my routine. I was used to being on up to 120 airplanes a year and working in tall buildings and feeling important, working with clients and coming up with strategies and going in this direction and that direction. But the slowdown caused me to get off balance. Being off balance affected my mind, it affected my body, and it affected my spirit. And I said, I don't want that vibration to stick with me. I sought to uncling it. And one of the things that I did was, instead of waking up at a different time every morning or going to bed at a different time every single night, I set my alarm clock for the same time every single morning, including on weekends, so that I could wake up and get into a routine. I had been missing the routine of traveling and of presenting client deliverables in front of them and of being stretched thin professionally and having my calendar on Outlook that would tell me 5 minutes before a meeting to show up to this Zoom room or to run to this airplane or to run to that Uber to get into that car to go to that meeting. And it threw me off. So I created my own routines by waking up at the same time every single morning during this time of change, being at home, to going to bed at the same time every single night. That was some structure that I put into my life that helped me to tap back into that opportunity for happiness in my life. I want to challenge you, if you're feeling kind of off kilter, off center right now, find ways to bring routine into your life. It's the little things that matter that turn into the big things. And this is our opportunity to go deep within, to do the work on our minds, our bodies, and our spirits to create the best version of ourselves. Admiral McRaven spoke at the University of Texas a few years ago at their graduation, and he said, make your bed every single morning. When you make your bed every single morning, that gives you the opportunity to at least come home to something every night, knowing that you've got a place that's comfortable for you and something to look forward to. No matter how your day goes during the day, you've got that beautiful bed to look forward to. And also, it creates a sense of accomplishment when you start your morning knowing that that bed is made. You set into momentum a sense of accomplishment, a sense of pride, knowing that I've done something, I've accomplished something. So join me, guys, in setting your alarm clock for the same time each morning, setting your alarm clock for the same time each night, and making your bed. You can do it. One of the things that I did to kind of stretch myself and to create this new vibration in my mind and body and spirit was I took a U.S. flag and I decided to run through my neighborhood for 6 miles, telling all of my neighbors, you can do it, hang in there, we're in this together. I got more than 100 people honking at me, and I was running past quarantini parties that were outside in cul-de-sacs and on streets, and people were thumbs upping me as they were driving by and walking by. And by blessing others, I was blessing myself. Now, the old me would have said, James, you better not be running through the neighborhood with a flag on. People are going to think, with a flag raised, people are going to think that you're crazy. Why do something like that? But the new me knows that happiness is expansion. It's stretching myself and sharing myself with the world, and by bringing love and blessings and kindness and positive words to other people, they gave that right back to me in return. That night when I came home from that 6-mile run, I couldn't even sleep. I felt so good. I felt so uplifted. I had changed my routine. I had mixed things up. I had stretched myself. I had done something that I didn't care if I was embarrassed about it or not. I helped other people. Of course, within the guidelines of being 6 or 10 feet away from other people. That's what I did, and it was helpful to me. The second guiding principle that I'd like to talk to you about is social distancing. And when I first heard the term social distancing, I thought, wow, what are they talking about? Are we not supposed to do anything? Are we not supposed to talk to anybody? What is social distancing? And I realized that social distancing is just code for deeper connection. We live in a really unique time right now where we are able to connect face to face, talk and communicate and go deep into conversations with one another without even having to be present in the same physical space. Thank goodness for technology and the geniuses who work to improve and to create programs like Zoom and WebEx and Skype and FaceTime. This is an opportunity for us to connect, to go deeper, and to tell our neighbors that we love them, and to say hello to people we might not have ever said hello to on the sidewalk. Now, with respect to social distancing, a friend shared with me a picture of a tattoo, so that when the person was looking at the tattoo, it actually said, save me. But when the public was looking at the tattoo actually said, I'm fine. Know that this is a time in which we're all going through something. We're all seeking opportunities to connect, whether we are extroverts or ambiverts or introverts. The quality of our lives is directly proportionate to the quality of our human relationships. When we have that sense of belonging, that sense of purpose, that sense of connection, the quality of our lives just skyrocket. So know that even if someone says they're fine or be reached out to or be connected with, know that there's the opportunity for you to shine some energy and some light, some love on that person, and that as you do, you will receive it right back. Now, oddly enough, and this is oddly enough for me, social distancing is not something that's new for me at all. As a Black, gay American, I know a thing or two about social distancing, especially coming from the South. What I also know is that when people intentionally socially distance themselves from me, regardless of coronavirus or whatever we're going through right now, there's the opportunity to send them light, love, and energy. About a decade ago, my in-laws made the put the intention out there through inaction and through action to separate themselves from me. They did not like the fact that I was Black, and they certainly did not like the fact that I was gay and in love with their firstborn son. I love John tremendously. He is the person who helps me when I'm sick. He's the person who I wake up beside every single morning. He's the person who supports me and cheerleads for me with my dreams. He's my work partner, he's my life partner, and he is my best friend. For years, it ate me up on the inside that people, or that this family would intentionally socially distance themselves from me and from him. But after my accident, I realized I can send people love and light and positive energy and accept them on their journey for the way they are. I used to be caught up in resentment and anger, and I would try to change the situation and control others. And I realized that that was just pulling my vibration down. But after 8/25/12, I learned that my vibration is up to me. and that everybody has the right to be on their own journey. The only person who James can control is James. And with that, I sent them love, I sent them healing energy, and I sent them the connection, knowing that we are connected by a mighty God, a loving God, and a non-judgmental God. And as I did so, I found more love in my heart for myself. I thank you for that experience. Our third guiding principle is about blessings, and that is blessings can be found everywhere, and we've got to acknowledge each moment with gratitude. During coronavirus, I have lost 2 people I know. I've also received the good news of a friend who has returned home from the hospital and is fully healed right now. I thank God for the doctors and nurses who worked so hard to help him to heal his body. And I also thank God for the nurses who did FaceTime so that he could be connected with his partner, because they were distanced from one another by law, that he couldn't go into the hospital to visit his partner. Know that as we are working on quarantining and separating ourselves, that there are miracles that are happening every day, and that they are so magical. I was so frustrated and so angry and disappointed before I received the news of my friend coming home having lost 2 other people, but I chose to change my perspective. And that perspective is to focus on the good, to focus on all the wonderful acts of kindness and love and strength that are happening right now, and to focus on the connectivity within us. During that time of frustration, I chose to acknowledge my feelings. And one of the things that I really came to accept in my life is that not every day is a perfect day, and that we've got to work on joy, and we've got to work on maintaining consistent happiness in our lives every single day. So in my frustration, I said, you know what? Every time I go on social media, somebody's trying to tell me about how to be happier, how to do this, how to do that. And as an executive coach, as a life coach, as a meditator, I'm often that person who's trying to tell other people how to be happy. I realized and I reminded myself that it's okay to be frustrated. It's okay to be mad. So I wrote out a frustration list. I pulled out a clipboard and I wrote on a piece of paper at the top of the paper, I am most frustrated about. And I wrote a list of all the things that I was frustrated about. Frustrated about finances, frustrated about business affairs, frustrated about unpredictability of the future, frustrated about so many of my business trips being canceled, and also a vacation being canceled. So frustrated about not being able to give people hugs or to shake hands with people. Being a touch type person, I felt myself just sinking in this frustration and my body tightening, and each day not vibrating at the energetic frequency that I wanted to. So guess what I did? I took that frustration list, I fleshed it out, I wrote it out, and then I burned it. That's right, I burned it, and I released all those frustrations out into the air, and I allowed that energy to uncling itself from me. After I wrote that frustration list and burned it, I decided to pivot my energy and to move into gratitude. And I invite you to join me by writing out a gratitude list. And in that list, you can write at the top of your piece of paper, I am most thankful for, or you can go to my website at www.jamesnowlin.com/gratitude and download your free gratitude list exercise to work on in your home or in your relationship or by yourself or with your family. You can even create a fun game about it with it, and you can post your gratitude list on your refrigerator or your mirror, or you can post it in several places in your house. Or you can write 5 additional things that you find yourself grateful for on a daily basis. What we do know is that we can change our vibration from frustration to gratitude. And let's do it over the next 7 days as we continue to approach Easter. Number 4 guiding principle, God consciousness is everything. And with God consciousness, we are in control. This amazing power that we have to tap into this technology of infinite power and wisdom and peace and love is so very incredible. Know that whatever our circumstances are, we can tap into it through prayer, meditation, ritualizing the time each day that we go into this feeling of safety and abundance with these routines It's just so welcoming and so powerful, and it should be something that is shared. Knowing that what you recognize, you energize, and whatever you focus on expands. So if you tell yourself that I am slow, or I am too old to learn this technology, or I'm not smart enough to do X, Y, or Z, guess what? You're probably not going to be able to do it. But if you tell yourself that I am healthy, I am strong, I am capable, I can learn new technology, we affirm to the universe that we can, and the universe gives us every supply and resource that we need to achieve. And with that consciousness, with that God consciousness and that connectivity, we can do so much in our lives. The two most powerful words in the English language are I am. When you put those words together, anything that follows them are exactly what we become. So it's our opportunity this week to practice resilience. If you feel particularly down and you feel particularly vulnerable about something, write down exactly what that vulnerability is. And then allow your I am affirmation to come to you as the exact opposite of what that vulnerability is. For example, if you think that you're not tech savvy enough and you tell yourself, well, I'm not tech savvy or I hate computers, guess what? You're not going to do well with computers. But let's flip that to an I am affirmation to I am tech savvy, or I am a technology whiz, so that I can connect with my friends, my family, my colleagues, and with the rest of the world. This is an opportunity for us to expand. This is an opportunity for us to move into a new vibration of stretching ourselves and to pivot this week. So I would like for you to repeat after me with a few I am affirmations. Are you ready? Here we go. I am the architect. I am the construction crew. I am the maintenance team for my life. I am peace. I am love. I am renewed. We now take a moment to move into our meditation, knowing that we've had the opportunity to connect and that we have the opportunity to continue to reconnect with a state of gratitude and appreciation for the experience and for what we have right now in this present moment. So just take a moment with me to just roll those shoulders back into feather your nest, knowing that comfort is queen, and relax into yourself and into your breath. Allow your eyes to gently close, knowing that we are peace, we are love, we are enough, we are okay. We thank the universe for what we have with the high vibration of gratitude and appreciation, knowing that community is expressing and coming together in so many ways worldwide right now like never before. We are one, and we say thank you. We allow the words thank you to vibrate through our mind, through our consciousness, through our hearts, through our bodies right now, and we share that vibration with one another. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for this breath. Thank you for my brothers and sisters in my community, in my world community. Thank you for allowing me to witness people at their best, coming together, loving one another. Thank you. Thank you for communication and technology and limitless love and kind words. Thank you for reminding us that we belong. Thank you. Thank you for our families. Thank you for the kind messages of people checking in on us. Thank you for the random acts of kindness. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for hope. Thank you for moments of peace. Thank you for moments of stillness. Thank you. Thank you for the right now. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Now we just allow our eyes to gently open, knowing that we are one. We are love. We are peace. We are living our new lives. Thank you.
We thank you, James Nowell, and bless you and your wonderful partner, John. We are grateful for that message. It gives us great hope. I will repeat that. Now that I'm live, we thank you, James Nowland, for that wonderful, wonderful message. We will take it to heart and work with it. It gives us great ammunition to deal with all that is before us. Grateful for your partner, John, for all that you mean to all of us in this community and to the world. This is the time in our service when we have the opportunity to give. The graphic on your screen shows you the many ways that you can circulate your good to support Unity Church of the Hills. You can text UCOH to 77977, give online through our website, donate directly in Facebook, or mail a check to the church. As you focus on that gift in whatever means you give it, I want you to affirm the offering with me, and let's speak it out loud and put energy and meaning behind it. The word is divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I circulate, and I am grateful. Thank you for your...
The crisis is changing life as we...
Here's a quick video that we hope will move you as much as it has moved us.
The virus crisis is changing life as we know it dramatically tonight.
I can't wait for a year's time when all of this is a distant memory. And there is a corona baby boom because all the lovers were loving. And there is a rise in small businesses because all the entrepreneurs had a moment of stillness and creativity. And all the children remember nothing but a time when all the mums and dads were at home drawing and playing ball games, and we remember it as the time we all got to stop and be present. We will remember the time our health was our first priority, and people learned new ways to use fresh produce to feed their families. We remember the laughter and fun on TikTok, FaceTiming with our friends and family each day, date nights in the house, and home PE workouts with Joe Wicks. A time our real heroes in the NHS urged us to stay at home for the greater good, and our country showing their support by turning Wembley and the Angel of the North blue. And we were all forced to think outside the box and dream up new things and reinvent old ways, and for once, even amongst the chaos, there was community. There was a global rise in togetherness, and as the streets were quiet, our homes were bustling with love and laughter. That time is coming soon, just like any other crisis before it. This will all be a distant memory, a thing we soon listen to our children discuss in classrooms, or once was, that we share with our grandchildren. So to you, I know it's unsettling, but focus on the silver lining. We're all in this together, and there is so much beauty to see.
Our staff enjoyed that video and felt like it would be something that you would enjoy. Our youth and family director, Linda Hancock, who in my opinion is the best in the world, has put together a number of resources for our youth, many of whom have been gathering in private Facebook groups or on Zoom. Parents and guardians, please avail yourself of these opportunities. You can find them on our website, on our virtual campus landing page. I can't encourage you enough to tap into that beautiful resource that Linda has made possible for us. Our Youth of Unity and Uniteens have been meeting over Zoom, and our other youth groups have been gathering in Facebook groups. Even though they are not here with us physically, we want to take a moment and bless them. And I ask you to, as James so beautifully reminded us, raise your hands and feel that blessing going to our youth and also going out to all the children of the world. The blessing is this: children, youth, angels, and teachers, we love you, we bless you, we appreciate you, and we behold the Christ you are. Let's breathe that in and once again feel it touching all of the children all around the world, knowing the Holy Spirit multiplies our willingness over and over, and each heart is blessed. Amen. Well, of course, this is the beginning of Holy Week. Today is Palm Sunday, and as we're reminded in A Course in Miracles, this week begins with the palm and ends with the lily. It begins with the palm that metaphysically represents strength, and it ends with the lily that metaphysically represents forgiveness. I want to encourage you this week to construct, if you haven't already done so, a simple altar in your home. The one that you see up here can be a representation of that. In my beautiful, humble abode that I'm fortunate enough to stay in while I'm here, I've created a little altar with pictures of course, Mary and other family members. The directory for Unity Church of the Hills is there. There's other meaningful pieces. And one of the things I want to suggest you have at that altar is a little vial of oil, a perfumed oil or whatever. You don't need to run out to the store. Grab a tiny bit of olive oil, whatever it might be, because on Good Friday, the Good Friday service, which will happen this Friday at 7 p.m., right through this medium, we're going to, at the end of that lesson, I'm going to ask you to do something very significant and give yourself an anointing. If you're comfortable, and there are 2 or more of you gathered there, not more than 10, of course, we encourage you to anoint one another if that's something that you're comfortable with. And I'll guide you in that process. And then on Sunday, we'll have a sunrise meditation that will be relatively brief. It will take place at sunrise at 7 o'clock on Easter Sunday morning, and it will be probably 10 minutes in length, but we encourage you to dial in. Easter services happen at 8 a.m. with Jean Lean on Facebook Live, a beautiful service that she gave today on Unity. And 11:25 is our Easter service here from the stage and in this particular format. Be sure to stick around for a Going Deeper session with James Nowlin and his partner John immediately following the prayer for protection. We'll need just a moment to set up. And don't forget that you can call 512-814-5365 following the service and leave a voicemail message for a prayer chaplain to call you back and pray with you. And now let's hold all the world in our hearts as we pray our prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. We love and bless all of you. Namaste.
And James, I know that they got to see you, but maybe you can introduce your husband, John, to everybody watching real quick while I pull up the questions.
Well, this is John.
Hi, everyone.
He is beyond amazing.
Thank you. And you are too.
All right. Well, so the first question that I have that came in is, after your accident rebirth, what were some of the practices that you found most helpful that we can use during these uncertain times?
Well, John, you can help me answer this question, but the first thing I had to do was to forgive myself and to forgive you. And the accident woke me up in so many ways that I had to just say, James, it's okay that right now in this moment, you are at your closest with God, and this brought you closer to God. It happened for you, not to you. And I was just so hard on myself for rejecting that presence and that power of God in my life, or living a robotic experience of going to church and saying that I love the Lord and just going through the motions. But I felt so connected, and I had to forgive myself for not having that as deep a level of connection in the past. And then you probably witnessed me work on the 3 biggies: mind, body, spirit. I began exercising a lot more every day, breaking a sweat every day to get the toxins out, and going into meditation and prayer consistently every day, doing things at the same time, waking up in the morning, saying thank you when I woke up. Instead of just going through the motions, first thing I would say is just thank you. Thank you. And sometimes I would say it once, sometimes I would say it 100 times, but I would say thank you. And then I would move about going through my day. And that created a gratitude experience. Because you and I, we were working so hard on creating and building and hiring and connecting with clients and serving and working 60 or 80 and sometimes 100 hours a week that we forgot to say thank you. We forgot to say thank you. And then as I did that work, you began to do that work, and our whole vibration lifted. The whole energy of our house lifted. The whole energy of our business affairs lifted. And that changed everything. Just getting into an energy of gratitude, knowing that I'm thankful for you, thankful for everything we have, thankful for our gifts, thankful for our love, and that we would not be taking anything for granted going forward.
And I'll just add to that. I think that pausing and thanking in that moment is so critical right now, because all too often we're thinking about, hey, when this is over, this is what I'm going to do. I'm waiting for when I can get out and see my friends again face to face. But instead, just celebrating the moment, in the present moment, and looking at everything that we can be grateful for. And just keep saying that again and again and again until you start to feel it inside of you. And then it just starts to just magnify from there.
Beautiful. Thank you, guys. And don't forget, you can submit your questions on the Facebook Live chat. I do have another question here that I want to ask you guys. How can we better connect during this time?
Well, I will admit, outside of a business setting, I'm probably a lot more introverted and quiet. But what I will say is I definitely am trying to make an effort when I'm out walking. Thank goodness we're allowed to get out and get some exercise and walk down the street and just keep our social distance. But making an opportunity to really say hello more to our neighbors, get to know different folks. Folks that, maybe sometimes we passed in the cars on the street, but we never had a conversation. And so right now, taking a chance to go out, working on the body, like James said, and breaking a little bit of a sweat, but at the same time, fellowshipping with our neighbors, getting to know some of those who may live the closest to us, but we've never been really close to. So I think really using this as an opportunity to do that, I think just creates a whole new level of connection right in our immediate neighborhoods.
And Tammy, I really wish that the term social distancing was actually reworded to physical distancing. Social distancing. I mean, I'm a social person, and I feel more connected than ever to my neighbors and my community and my church and my family through technology and through cameras and through running through the street with a flag and saying, I love you to everybody. I mean, I feel connected. In the beginning, I did not feel connected, but I retermed social distancing to physical distancing, where I keep my 6 or 10 feet apart from people, and I would just shower them with love and jazz hands with waves and hugs like this, because I'm a hugger and I'm a touch person and I love to, shake hands and do all those things. But if we could just think physical distancing, not social distancing, but if we have to say social distancing, it's an opportunity for deeper connection. Get on Zoom, reach out to loved ones. If there's a grievance between yourself and an old friend or a family member, take a deep breath and say, hey, maybe I'll shoot that person a text message and say, I'm thinking about you. Can we have a conversation? Can we do some healing work together during this time? It's such a great time for us to come together even more deeply, if we just try to navigate conversations and communications in a different way.
Thank you. And I just want to real quick do a plug for the virtual fellowship. So if you're looking for ways to connect, consider becoming a host of one of our virtual fellowship opportunities starting on Easter Sunday. So I have a great question here that I'm excited to ask you and see what you have to say. So prior to your shift, which happened around 2 years after the NDE is what I heard, did anyone try to tell you that the accident was for you, and how did you receive it prior to your shift? Does that question make sense?
It makes a lot of sense.
I think it's a great question, so I'd love to hear what you have to say about that.
When I would share my story, I realized that sometimes people would say, well, I'm so sorry that happened to you. And then I would quickly correct them. I'm so grateful that it happened for me. I'm so grateful that it happened for me. And it was hard during the first 2 years, Tammy, because for me, I honestly didn't want to be alive. I didn't want to be alive, but John was here to support me. And I was living quite a ho-hum existence, a rather purposeless life of just going to work and trying to define my life based upon what I thought everybody else thought success was, or what I was taught in school what success was, or what had been ingrained in me throughout my growing up what success was. But success is loving yourself and connecting with God and divinely expressing this power and this love within you and sharing it with the world. And I had my struggles, and I went to different psychologists, and I tried different medications and prescription drugs and antidepressants, but I realized that James needed to do the work on himself in order to enjoy this powerful existence. And I had to unleash myself, Tammy, realizing that I'm stuck here. I'm not going to die anytime soon. I better get used to being here. I better start shining my light. Otherwise, I'm going to be a pretty miserable person. And so it took 2 years of really, really hard work, self-examination, unpacking some of the things that were clinging to me, that were not serving to me. And then when I unleashed it, it was like, let me get out and serve. Let me get out and love. Let me get out and live. Let me get out and pray. Let me get out and help. Let me get out and coach. Let me get out and pour myself into the world to give as much as I can to everyone in every way that I can and stretch myself, because, Tammy, I mentioned that happiness is expansion. Happiness is expansion.
Yes.
And when we're sitting on our sofas and when we're clung to our feelings and resentments and fears and all those things, there's no happiness in that.
No.
And I had to let it go. And I had to let it go. And it was almost like lights were off and then lights turned on. Lights were off and lights turned on. And John, you witnessed that.
Well, I think one of the big challenges that you shared with me was in your near-death experience, the divine connection with God that you felt in those moments. And so coming back to this earth, I think I remember one time, and it was difficult for me to even hear this, I'll be honest with you. I mean, because I was on a completely different side of the experience here.
Yeah.
But it was almost like a baby being born and the shock of facing the world after having been in the mother's womb. And so you felt so distant from what felt so perfect. And I think it took you some time to realize that you could tap into that divine connection and that power and that joy at any moment, because it's always there. And that's, I think, been one of the interesting journeys after that 2-year mark, where you started to find and teaching me how to fully tap into that at any moment, because it's always present here and now.
Beautiful. Thank you both. So you kind of touched on this a little bit, but this question is, so when you were recovering from the accident, how did you deal with the fear of brain damage and the fear that you might not fully recover? And I think that I'd love to hear both perspectives, like, James, your perspective, but then also John, as loving James, how hard that was for you and what you did in order to stay centered. So really,
I'll go ahead and start.
Yeah.
I don't think in the beginning, James fully knew what he was going through, because it was not the James that I knew. It was like a little child in many ways. And to be honest, there was a point where I'm asking myself, I'm like, what's the long-term state for him? And how do we take care of him? But it was a day by day, just never giving up, just saying, we're going to figure this out. I don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. But day by day, it got better. And I'm so grateful for the doctors and nurses, both in East Texas, where the accident happened, but then in the trauma center in Dallas, where they took him to, for all their amazing work. But then there's that perseverance of just never giving up afterwards, because it was a slow journey to where we got to today.
And John, you'll remember, I lost a good chunk of my vocabulary, and I hid it from people. I would speak very slowly and intentionally, but if I were in the kitchen, I would, see a spatula and not know the word for spatula, or see coffee maker and not know the word for coffee maker and say that thing. And I hid it from people. And in fact, my best friend is a neuroradiologist, a physician. He's the one who saved my life, and I hid it from him by the way that I talked.
You didn't always hide it very well, but okay.
Okay. But I couldn't speak very well. I would tell the same joke over and over again. And it took a while for things to get back to me. And I would read the dictionary, and I would read books, and I would work on speaking and work on my diction. And as someone who grew up speaking and was in forensics and competitive speaking in high school, it was very frightening for me to lose my vocabulary and the ability to put my thoughts together. That was super, super frightening. But it was a journey. I think that one of the things that happened was there was a rewiring in my brain to be so fearless and to not be afraid of death. And this was the really scary part, is I began saying the truth about a lot of stuff. And a lot of people around me couldn't handle my saying the truth about a lot of things. I mean, my brain would just, well, this is the truth. This is what's going on. This is what happened. And I had to recalibrate in this physical space of knowing that there's a way, there's a manner, there's an energy about presenting the truth to others so that they can receive it and accept it in the right time. In the right time. But when you have something happen like that to you, there's this courage and energy and braveness of just ineffable, I can't even put it into words, where you just come back and perspective changes in such a way that you just can't explain it, but you live and you serve and you try to help others as much as you can, but you also know that death is not necessarily a bad thing. And that we see so many folks right now who are, and my heart goes out to them, who are afraid to die, but who've also been afraid to live.
Yeah.
And prior to 8/25/12, I was afraid to live in so many ways. But I came out of that not afraid to die, but also not afraid to live. Living, awaking, loving, giving to the maximum extent of my capabilities.
Thank you. Beautiful, beautiful. Well said. So I get the impression that the two of you live very full lives. I mean, your business is thriving, and you exercise. There's so much that you do. So how do we, in this living the fullest of our lives, do it from a place of balance? What do you two do to keep that balance in check so that you're not overextending yourself in one way or the other? Does that question make sense?
Yes. Stop watching the news. Stop watching the news. John and I stopped watching TV a couple of years ago, and it's been the best thing ever for us. We have so much more time to get more stuff done, to exercise, to cook food, to help neighbors, to do all those things. We don't watch TV. Or when we do tune in on the rare occasion, it's something funny. It's something like comedy, or watching Ellen DeGeneres or something on TV. But it's something to lift us up, not to pull us down. Now, we are informed, we are responsible, we do know what's going on. We look at the daily digest that we get via email to find out what's going on in the news so that we can help our neighbors and be safe. But that's the big thing, is that we've got to make sure that we understand that one of the best ways in which we can practice self-care is to realize when toxic energy is coming in like a vampire in our spirits. And the news is one of the ways for that energy to come into our homes and into our consciousness. And it'll just bring us down. And as it brings us down, we can't share our lights with the world. So there is time in the day for exercise, for breaking a sweat, for cooking good food, for laughing, for hugging your spouse, for working, for picking up that new hobby or that project that you've always wanted to do, for reaching out to a neighbor or to an old high school or college friend and saying, hey, you know, it's been 20 or 30 years since we chatted. Let's do FaceTime together. There is time. We've just got to break from some bad habits.
Well, and another thing, too, that I would definitely say that we do, and I encourage everyone to do, whether you're in the house with someone or just connecting with someone via Zoom or FaceTime or whatever else, but hold each other accountable. Because, you know, to James's point, you know, you do have to stay informed, and some days it can feel overwhelming. It seems like the bad news just outweighs it, and you can quickly find yourself getting sucked in. But holding each other accountable. You know, there's a lot of times where, you know, we'll be doing stuff and one of us will come into the room and be like, hey, let's go for a walk. We're just going to walk to the end of the street and back, which the street is pretty hilly, so it's a good exercise if we do that. But it's like, okay, let's change energy, let's go do that. So I really encourage everyone, whether you live alone and you do this virtually, or if there's someone else in your household, but hold each other accountable. Set some goals and some intentions that, hey, every day, I'm going to do a walk around the block. Rain, hey, we all have umbrellas. Break them out of the closet, put a hoodie on, and go out and keep yourself dry and safe, but get out and do something every day and hold each other accountable.
And not only that, John, but I want to share with people at home that it's okay in this new normal that you've had an argument or a disagreement or even a knockdown drag out with some people in your home.
La, 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 la.
Being in the same space and changing your entire life to live in a box and to homeschool your children and to work on computer apps and to connect with people through work and to not be able to meet your colleagues face to face and to get out of the routine of driving in traffic or going to your favorite barista and getting a cup of coffee, that shift is tough. It's tough. But we know that if we feel our vibration going down, decreasing, we'll say, okay, we got to change this habit right now. James, you'll tell me, James, I'm sensing that you're not at your best right now. Let's go for a walk. Let's break a sweat. Or let's just drop down and do 20 push-ups. Or I see that you're feeling disconnected right now. Why don't you reach out to one of your old friends and just tell them that you love them? And so we've got to break the cycle of low vibrational frequency by switching up. by switching up. And we can do it by moving our bodies, changing our routines, making phone calls, connecting with other people, and loving more and finding new ways to express ourselves. Otherwise, all those feelings and all that power gets trapped inside, and we got to let it go. We got to release it. So the quality of our lives is, again, directly proportionate to the quality of our relationships. If you feel yourself getting down, find a way to connect. And if you feel yourself getting down with yourself, find a way to connect with yourself by physical exercise, or by prayer, or by meditation, or whatever you need in that moment to break that cycle or to break that feeling of low consciousness that you're going through. And it's okay to feel sad, to feel disappointed, to feel worried. All those things are okay, but let's not let those feelings cling to us.
So before I read another question, I just have to read this comment because it just touched my heart so much. So Wes writes, "It's odd. These two are my literal next door neighbors, and I've never felt more connected to them. Thank you for sharing your energy and inclusiveness with us." And that comment just moves my heart so much, so I wanted to share it with the two of you.
I was going to say, we love you guys.
It's so beautiful. So we have a vulnerable question here, going back to when you were talking about the fear of death, James. What advice would you give to someone who has that fear and that is sometimes deep, scary, and uncontrollable? So you've been on the other side, you've kind of witnessed what it's like, and you know in every fiber of your being that there is no such thing as death. What do others who haven't had that experience, how do they cope? What suggestions do you have?
That's a really, really tough one. Tammy, I'll be completely vulnerable right now. For the first 2 or 3 years after the accident, when I would find out that a friend or a celebrity or whomever passed away, I would get excited.
Yeah.
I would get so excited, and I would say, oh my gosh, thank you, God, that person gets to go home. That person gets to go home. That person gets to move beyond the physical existence of bills and finances and traffic and human relationships and all the challenges of this universe. For me, on my journey, and for the message that I would like to share with anyone who has a fear of death, is to just go deep inside. Go deep inside. And to ask God, what is your I am? What is your I am? What is your purpose? And allow that answer to come to you. And it might not come to you overnight. It might not come to you in the first month, but in your meditations, in your prayers, just keep asking and asking and asking. And it's going to come to you, and it's going to be revealed to you in such power and crystal clarity that you'll be able to move into your purposefulness and your purpose-driven life, that you are unleashed and you are freed, and you're sharing yourself as the highest, most magnetic, optimistic, and powerful expression of yourself, and death ain't going to be nothing but a thing. It ain't gonna be nothing but a thing. I'm not worried about that anymore, because I am wired for gratitude and giving and loving in such a way that I'm not even thinking about death. And that if a bus hit me today, it's okay, because I was living in my purpose. And we can do that. And I've seen you do it, John. I've seen you become and join in on the journey. We had some resistance in the beginning, but you are in your purpose and you are in your light. And you told me the other day, you said, James, you have nothing to worry about with me. If COVID gets me, I'm okay. I'm living my purpose, and I know that you will be okay. If I pass away, my work is done.
And I would just say, with that, everyone's path is different. You could sit up here and, we could all share our own experiences and how we have found that centeredness and that alignment and that connectivity with our higher selves, with divine spirit. But yours is going to be different. And so don't beat yourself up if you're trying to, replicate something and saying, this is what this person said, and I'm not getting this outcome, there must be something wrong with me. All I can say is, don't give up.
Yes.
keep adapting it. Listen to your intuition. Listen to the Holy Spirit speak to you, and you will find that path.
Yes.
Like James said, it may not happen overnight, but it will come. I guarantee that.
It'll come.
You two are so beautiful. I'm so grateful to be on this platform.
Right
with you
back at
guys.
you, Tammy.
So, are there just any final comments that you both maybe want to share with everybody watching, and then we'll bring this to a close?
I'll let the love of my life close. No pressure.
I was going to say, on the spot. I will tell you, this is a very weird experience to be sitting here in front of an empty room. Although I do love all the pictures of our UCOH family and all the pews and stuff like that, because I can feel your energy and love. But I think going back to Wes's comment earlier, I think that, you know, with everything that's going on right now, this is actually a blessing. This is a blessing that Spirit is giving us all to slow down and to focus on what really matters. We all have gotten so busy in our lives at one point or another, maybe even just weeks ago, hustling and bustling and going around running errands and stuff like that. Guess what? Now you really don't even have errands to run. I kind of miss running errands. I used to complain about it, but now I miss them.
And no traffic. You're
and no
not driving
traffic.
anywhere.
But really realize this is a blessing. This may be a once in a lifetime, once in a generation, where all of humanity is pausing. Step outside and listen to the silence. There's fewer planes, there's fewer cars, the noise is different. And that's an opportunity for each of us to go inside, to connect more with those around us, and to just focus on what really matters.
All right. Thank you guys so much. And thank you, everyone who has been watching from home. We're so grateful to have had this opportunity to come together. And I'm grateful to both of you. Thank you so much. Namaste, everybody. Have a beautiful day. We'll see you for Easter.